Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we are showing you an update on what is happening in the war of SS1-2 for the Kingdom of Valhalla. I don't know, it just came to me in that moment. So at the time, right, we're going to give you a nice overview on all things that are happening in the kingdom right now. So if we're taking a look at this TA-controlled pass here, this is the southeastern pass here on the border between Navola and Sophrostia. We can see there was actually, I believe, just a rally that went down that Asura, I think from SS18, had launched. And it's been really just a constant back and forth, man. The fighting has been really just, I would argue, on point, and also has just been constant, right? And just continuously happening, which has been nice. And one of the things that I wanted to point out that I have been noticing when it comes to the passes is that there's really two important things that allow you the flexibility to do on passes and how they can impact the fight near and, I guess, loosely around the pass. And specifically to explain this, let's go back to our city so we could take a look at the Shaman Hut. So if we look at this, you can see here where it says when legions are defending against an enemy attack at a pass, 35% of severely wounded units will die. And 50% of the enemy's severely wounded units will die. That means that the attacker will lose 50% or will incur 50% deaths, and the defender 35%. So that's one of the two most important reasons on why it's actually more beneficial in general to hold the pass and defend, because you're going to take less overall deaths. Now, for a period, at least up until I think yesterday, right, the SS, NT45, BDL, S5, S6, Godside ended up holding this pass, and then TA had recaptured it. Even when we look at the Northwestern pass here, that, oh wow, they actually got this one back because TM was holding this for a while. So now it looks like SS11 is holding this pass. I'm not sure if there's any action happening here. No, they're just chilling right now. So that's one of the most important reasons. The second most important reason on holding passes is because of what we saw in the video yesterday, where TA ended up doing, and they did this actually a couple times, which I liked that they did because it really makes sure that you have to keep the opposition on their toes. They would go through the pass at just intermittent or periodic times, and essentially whenever they felt, which I'm assuming, right, but the approach, the idea is, in the ideal way, is you gather here, you basically feint that you're inactive by not moving your units for a while. That's one tactic. Or you have a small amount of units here and you control the pass, and there's a lot more here and they're not moving. And then from there, you basically just run everyone out, and you just try and not necessarily murder ball, but you overwhelm your enemy with numbers, and you basically take kind of the impulsive first shot approach before they're able to replenish and kind of reorganize their ranks. So this is a good tactic, something that we saw TA do a few times, and at least a few times I saw it, it looked as though it worked well, where they were able to do a lot of damage, even though they still ended up getting pushed back in the end. They were able to inflict quite a bit of deads, and I would imagine, or sorry, not deads, but severely woundeds on their opponents when they implemented this tactic. And this is something that anyone can do, but that's the second most important reason why it benefits the pass holder, because it gives you the flexibility to do these things. Whereas if you don't control the pass, you're basically left to either constantly doing rallies, double, triple rallies, however many alliances are connected to the pass in hopes of recapturing it, or having to be reactive. And when you're reactive, you're always going to be arguably a step behind, because you're never going to be the one who initiates, right? The ones who are initiating really are the ones that have the overall advantage when it comes to that kind of first strike opportunity. Doesn't mean that they or the other side, who is not the ones initiating the receiving end, does not have the ability to counter or to recollect themselves, right, to defend with equal power, I guess, fighting capability. That's where I'm going with it. It just means that, again, you just don't have that first opportunity. Now, when we look at the lay of the land, right, showing you just kind of how everyone's set up, you can see BDL has been expanding. SS1 has been, again, obviously continuing with their resilience here in front of the pass. NT45 has been expanding. The thing that we talked about before, where we wanted to see God be able to extend all the way to the pass because they were being blocked initially by SS11 when they were connecting over here to the bear. That was something that we ended up seeing them remove some of those flags so God could build out. IDL has built out. Now you have them and SSO here in front, all connected in the patch. You actually have 4 alliances connecting here, which I actually think is cool. You probably could have 5 or maybe 6 alliances connecting to a pass if you really wanted to maybe stretch it to the fullest extent. But I like that we have 3 of the frontline alliances here on this pass and 3 over here. The one thing I will say, though, is that now that you have the pass, right, and again, I don't know if SS11 and the others have been doing this or not, but this is your opportunity, right, where SS11... you have God and IDL. This is your opportunity that you have the pass now to basically do what TA had been doing, and or, again, because like I said, I don't know if they have been or not, I'm just saying in general, right, where you should start coordinating timed pushes where you gather people here, or even if you're fast gathering and you feel like, okay, hey, we actually currently have a numbers advantage, we don't even need to sit here and wait or delay, and you're not seeing a lot of movement or responsiveness from your opponents, go ahead and do the push. Otherwise, gather, wait for some dead time to happen, right? And then do your push and start doing those where you're just kind of beating them down, because the objective really at this point is to try and get control of this area so you can start removing a lot of the fortifications and the barricades. And then you can slowly start your advance, right? And again, I don't know what their activity windows are right now or their peak activity. I'm just to reiterate, I'm stating this in general where it's good to do those things throughout so you can keep applying that pressure. As you do when you remove their units, then you start removing barricades, then you start removing flags, and you start inching closer and closer. If you feel like you're getting counter pushed and you just don't want to take unnecessary losses, go back through the pass, regather and recollect yourself, and do another time push. These are things that I would really love to start seeing. I like how we're also seeing some keeps that are now being thrown down as well. I think this was probably most noticeable over here on the southeastern pass, where you end up seeing, where is it? It's actually easier for me to zoom out because I can see the little place markers. Here you go. So you got one there from SS18, and there's one over here from NT45. I don't know if BDL has thrown one down. Maybe I just can't see it, but even if not, right, it'd be good, obviously, for them to eventually. Ooh, nice. I think we got a rally that's going on here. Ooh, dude, Duz is launching a rally. We got Asura who's launching a rally. And, okay, cool, man. This is nice. So we got double rallies going on here from SS18 and BDL. This isn't bad. The only thing that might make this better is if, a top player from one of the other alliances joined NT45, or, and let's see real quick. While this is going on, let's give an overview of how the ranks are actually panning out. So you can see Junie and Ghost here 1. Dude, Burning's actually catching back. Remember, Burning was at 72, almost 73 mil. So he's been fighting like a madman, right? I mean, he basically lost 14, 15 mil from fighting. Does lost a bit too as well, but you still see Burning right back up there fighting it out. But right, in this case, you have Asura, Does, right? So the top 2 players on the other side who are able to launch rallies. Burning's able to launch a rally for them. Ninja, like in this case, right, if Ninja switched and maybe went to NT45, that could be an example. You got Burning and Boogie who can launch rallies on the other side. So really, you just need a top person at NT45 and then maybe a top person at IDL, right? So whether that's, maybe Bakanawa goes there, maybe Aiden Bear goes there to NT, like just as an example, right? So that way you have someone strong who is running you have like the strongest possible person you have, or you can, or the person who has most tech development, highest VIP, where you have the ideal pairings for running. What's interesting is we've been seeing a lot of Madeline Nika on pass rallies and also on defense, right? So you see Asura's running it. Defense Madeline Nika. Does is actually switching it up right now, running Lilia. I don't know who the secondary is. Maybe I don't know if it's Valen. Oh, it is. Wow. So He's running, so they're running Lilia Valen here on this one, and that's a big thing. So it's really interesting. I'm gonna have to ask them for some reports just so I can see how the Madeline Nika is playing out. Because again, if we go back, right, they're again obviously with that they're running infantry. He's running archers. If we go back and we look at an example here, if I go to the marches, right, you can see here that infantry is here, right. So mage is obviously an advantage there, right? So that's what does in them is running. The other one is running infantry. So you have the advantage here on that for mages going up against infantry. Now it's just a matter of, and again, maybe I need to see some reports from Duz. I might have to ask him for it, as you know, just to see how that actually looks. Because to me, if you're stat for stat, you know, your archer, your mage should be somewhere at an advantaged level. And that should be displayed in the report, at least in some place. And obviously, we'd have to see it in order to see if those numbers are actually and truly turning out. The challenge is that I don't really think anyone's at max VIP level, max tech, max hero levels, and talent, right, to put into your talent tree, just to name a few areas, right, so where you can really see kind of the apples to apples, where then you can kind of test those other approaches and seeing if the in-game stats and metrics are really holding up to kind of say, well, hey, here's an advantage or here's not an advantage, right? Because you kind of have to be on an even playing field, so to speak, at kind of a max account level versus another max account level, and then do your test to really kind of see what the late game looks like. But at least as of now, right, they're holding. No one's really kind of pushed in on anyone else's ground at this time. And then we have a ways to go. So if we go back to Augerstone, you can see here, you got Thunder Rock that's opened, or sorry, that will in I think 12 hours or in less time than that. And then once we hit Great Deeds, we'll be able to start scouting past level 2, so that'll be cool. We're going to have to wait, I think, until we get to Conspiracy, until level 2 passes open. So again, you still got a week and a half or so until this happens. You got 5 more Augerstone chapters to hit. And so it is really going to be interesting to see how these things play out from now until then. Let's just show you some personal merits real quick that we can kind of end with. We did show you some power. Let's look at some merits. So you got Burning and Duz, number 1, number 3. Burning's getting close to 3 mil merit points. Ghost right behind him. Duz is there. Again, building some distance between him and Junie. Asura's almost caught up to Junie, about 300k. And then I think we were at 161 when I checked the number 200 position a little while. This was a day or two ago. Wow. So now they're at 250,000 for the bubble. Again, man, that's a lot of people that are fighting for it only being a couple days worth. So again, man, it's been awesome. And then we're going to be seeing some alliance rankings that should be opening up on the leaderboards here soon as well. So yeah, man, for me, I can't wait. I mean, the past stuff is cool, but I really love the open field play. Like, that to me is the most exciting part of the game, especially when you have multiple alliances that have kind of built out all the way to the middle of an area, and then you just get to kind of see that constant fighting back and forth. That's something we saw last season in Season 1 here for SS1-2, which, again, is the merged kingdom, and I probably should have said this in the beginning, right, from Kingdoms 1 through 4, and being able to see how much fighting happened in Forgotten Lands, it was glorious, man. Like, it didn't even matter if one side got steamrolled in an open field fight. They still came back later that day or the next day and kept fighting. And then there was just back and forth with one side got rolled, another side got rolled. And it was just great to see. Like, that to me was really the enjoyment, almost the epitome of what we could really look forward to when it comes to the potential of PvP in COD. And the range play, the flying, the artifact skill time usage, I mean, all of those things to me really make the game, even with the on-field support options like the barricades, the keeps. I still think there's more they can do with that as well if they ever wanted to expand upon it. But okay, that is going to be it for me. Again, there's obviously not a whole lot of action going on right now outside of some intermittent rallies. But again, anytime there is, I'll obviously be trying to give you guys as much of that action as we possibly can. And I'm sure eventually someone's going to break through and we'll see more consistent PvP play and more of that open fieldness that we love so much. Before I end, let me know what you all think. How have you been enjoying watching the SS1-2 content? If you're in the kingdom, how are you seeing things play out? Do you think TA and TM, UEH is eventually going to push out Or do you think the opposition is going to end up doing that? And I should also say GRZ, TMS as well. Do you think they're going to make it out? Or do you think the other side? Do you think NT45, SS18, BDL are going to push through the southeastern gate, along with SSO, IDL, and God pushing through the northwestern gate? Right? Who do you think is really going to make a foothold first? I'd love to know. Let me know. And again, you can do that in the comments below. That is going to be it for me. As always, until next time, I will catch you later.